Good morning. In last week's video, I asked this: how high can Bitcoin go and how can we trade it while it's in price discovery? And then I answered this. So if it comes down here, this is a really nice level, in my opinion, to go long from. It's got a really good risk reward, really nice to look for some sideways price action and a reversal up here for a continuation on a higher time frame to the upside. And then a few days later, I went along here and then Bitcoin did this. In this video, we're going to ask, has Bitcoin topped out yet? So a brief introduction for those that don't know me. I've been trading Bitcoin for about 8 years now. I've been trading in general for over 10.5 years. In this video, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. We're going to do a top-down analysis and market review for all three of them, leading to a trade plan for today, depending on the price action, and then a trade plan for the rest of the week ahead. And we do this every Monday morning, and if that's something you're interested in, hit subscribe. And then every Monday evening at 6:30 p.m. UK time, we do a live stream where we just basically cover today's price action and then what we can expect for the week ahead, just in a little bit more detail than what I can do in this video. I've seen multiple crypto cycles now, and this kind of feels like we're coming to the tail end of one. And over the next few months, we're going to see a fair amount of opportunities for things to go a lot higher. So that's kind of my main concern, not when it ends. Oh, and this video is sponsored by What Exchange. They're my crypto exchange of choice these days. They are non-KYC, which I think is super important, not only for you as a user, but just as a crypto space in general. They have a big airdrop coming early 2026 as well, and the start of hyperliquid. So if you missed out on that, this is your chance basically to get into something very, very similar. And you can start farming points immediately just by trading on there. And if you're not getting paid for the volume that you're creating for the exchange that you trade on now, if you hop over onto What on my referral link, I'll give you half of what I earn for you being referred to them. That's pretty good, huh? So anyway, let's get back to the charts. Everything's in the description below. As ever, we're going to start with the weekly time frame just to get an idea of what's happening on the higher time frame. So as we can see, we had the previous all-time high gets broken. We have a retrace down here, and then this is where the buying took place, which took us to the new all-time high. So there's no point going through everything here because this is the most relevant information. So if we jump down now to the daily to get a few more candles, what we can see, again, after the break of the previous all-time high, is this next high gets broken, and you can see all of this buying that took place to push us above. So here is the buying that took place, the origin to break the all-time high. So this is a key level. So if it revisits this level, this is a really interesting level on this time frame. But at the moment, we can see that it is either putting in a top to round off to come down, retest and reload and then head higher, or it's just going to continue from here, which we'll discuss in a moment. And then jumping down to H4, so we have a few more candles, we can see that it doesn't really want to drop down at the moment. So it trends up and then it puts in a range here, and that adds a little bit more context for what we're seeing. So it confirms the range at this point here, rips up, comes all the way back down, fakes it, and then there is a level on the H1 time frame, which we can look at in a moment. So it comes down, ignores this level, bounces off the lower level, pushes up, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then another higher low in the context of this, and now it's pushing back up. So a break back above this range, it would most likely be sending it to the previous all-time high at the top, last week's high, 123K. But it's kind of gone sideways a lot of low volume on this, and that is never really that much fun. So I would expect it to continue to the upside from this point. I wouldn't say that it looks like it's going to top out here. I think there's still plenty of movement left to the upside in this market in Bitcoin. It is just a case of it moves up and then it comes sideways, and then it moves up and then it comes sideways and then it moves up. And I think it's just going to be doing that for a period of time. Maybe that's the rest of the summer. going into Q4. But it looks like we're at the tail end of the bull market for me, from everything that we're seeing so far. But you never know, because Trump's in office and he's very bullish on Bitcoin, and you would expect potentially that with that bullishness, he may have a very bullish term with cryptocurrencies. I'm not sure, because Trump's also been very bullish on stocks before, and when in his previous term, and everything did just keep going up and up. So we may see the same in Bitcoin. And then you've got maniacs like Michael Saylor, who sees Bitcoin drop 0.01%, and then he's just like all in. So it's really hard to tell, because there's so much institutional interest in it now, and it seems like it's just going to go up forever, but at some point it won't, and I just don't think that time is yet, essentially. So on the hourly time frame, this is the level that I was speaking about, and I spoke about this on my previous video. This is the level where it was the deepest retrace after this point, and it comes down, taps it, goes sideways, and then starts putting in some higher highs and higher lows. So this is a really bullish sign, and this is essentially what I was talking about last week, at this level holding this range up. So that's been really nice, and I did take a trade on it last week, which I closed just before the weekend, just because I didn't want to have that open while I was with the family. And then last night I opened another long again when I saw enough signs, and managed to survive this drop, thankfully. And now it's pushing back up. So you can see it didn't want to come down here. It didn't want to come down here. So this range has been holding price up nicely. And it's now looking like pushing to the upside, which to me would be a bullish sign. And then I'd be targeting the all-time high from last week's high. But I imagine if it's going to get up there at this juncture, it's going to push higher. Where's it going to go? I'm not really sure. This is the kind of way to play it, in my opinion, is that if it rallies and then it puts in some retraces and then it puts in some ranges, you would trail your stop below these areas. Or, as I said last week, if you missed this initial move, you need to find patience, first of all, and wait for a retrace down to a key level, and for price to go sideways again in order to get in for the next leg. And that's essentially where we're at now. So you could play this range on a break above it with a stop below on this time frame, and then kind of maybe hold it for the week, because it could well be this is the weekly low. In the context of this time frame and H4 time frame, we have a series of higher highs and higher lows that just keep getting painted. So there's no reason to believe that it won't just keep pushing up from here. Where's Bitcoin going to top out? I'm not sure, but it's not looking as exhausted as Ethereum, for example, which we'll look at in a moment. But it does have signs that we're kind of late stage bull market, and it's going to keep doing that until, it's going to keep repeating previous cycles until it doesn't. So if we see a big blow off top, if we see like a huge amount of interest and everyone's getting super excited and this move is looking overextended, I'm going to get a little bit more cautious. But as I said, with Trump being in office and crime season being fully in sway, and the fact that he wants to make Bitcoin a big thing in the US, just makes me believe that we may have a fair while to go. But I'm no expert on fundamentals. I just like to trade the price action. And the price action in front of me so far is saying that it wants to keep pushing up. Now, if I jump to M15, which would be the last time frame I'm going to look at. So what we've just mentioned is essentially how I'd look to trade for the week ahead. And I am in a position for the week ahead. But if you're looking for a day trade, similarly to what we just discussed, you have this level here, which is the demand zone. It is where the buying took place to push up and now break this range high. So this is a key level here. We have a range on M15, like so. It may do what it just did on H1, come back down into this range, put some higher lows in, and then on a higher high, you could look to take this back up. So it could do something like that. Otherwise, this is a really nice level down here to look for a reversal and then push up. But It may look like the move goes at the moment, but considering the choppy nature of the chart at the moment, I wouldn't be surprised if this does just wick out and then come back down, as after all we're on Monday, and do something like that. So that would be kind of my day trade plan. If it comes down here on M15, I'll look for a reversal, similarly to what we've just discussed on the higher time frames, and then look to run it. But otherwise, for the week ahead, on H1, H4, there's a really key and obvious range that can be played, and it starts from this point here. Okay, so now let's talk about Ethereum. Okay, ETH's going mad, and I've been long from quite low down, so it's quite nice to see that it just keeps going up. And I said 4,000. I put a post up on X saying I think 4,000 was likely, and it's just below that now. And I think now that we're up here, there's been several taps of this all-time high. So it's tapped it once, tapped it twice, tapped it a third time because it comes down and then comes back up. At this juncture, I think a fourth tap of it is going to blast right through. So I'm holding my trade for above 4,000, but this is looking like a bit of an overextended move, and we'll discuss that on the lower time frames in a moment. So on the daily time frame, you can see so much green, which is nice. It's very uncommon to see this type of move, but when it does happen, you know, things are great. On this time frame, on the daily time frame, we've discussed this level plenty of times in previous videos, and this essentially is the situation. So we have this big support area that gets taken out. So price tumbles down to it, bounces off of it, and takes a lot of the orders out, and then rounds off, and then a sell-off kicks in, which takes out this support. So this is a key area, gets broken, and then on the lower time frames, which we'll discuss in a moment, at this point, and I'll just mark it like so, price goes sideways and puts in a range. But then this was the range that we've been talking about for several weeks now, and this was the range that if you were bullish, you waited for the spike below, and then it comes back into the range, and then I took my trade down here, and I discussed this on X, and I've discussed this in other videos. But price is fractal, so you can see we're at the bottom of this range. So jumping down onto lower time frames, you can get your trade at the bottom of this range at support to get tighter RR, which is what I've done, and we'll discuss that in a moment. And then now price has taken out this high, which was a key one. This is where the sell-off kind of originated from to like start this level, but really it was all a reaction to this point here. You can see this is the overall level, and if I just mark that like so, you can see this is the level, breaks out of it, and then it flips it and then comes down. So this is the end of that chain, and it's just been taken out. So now the next level we're looking at is the all-time high. I expect, considering the fact that we've had such a bullish move into it, it's probably going to wick it. It's probably going to, you know, go past it, and then we're going to see some sort of correction, which if you're not in on this move is going to be most welcome, because you know, it's been a really big move and everyone's getting super bullish and excited. So this is that cluster I was talking about on the daily time frame, and I did put a post up on X as well about how to trade this. I was looking for, at this point, to come back down one more time and then move up, as it did for my previous trade down here, but we already had quite enough momentum, and it just pushed up from here. So this was a really nice entry on this candle. You can see it comes up and then puts in a textbook range. It puts in a low, puts in a high, puts in a higher low, puts in a higher high, and then just rips up with momentum from the trend. So that was a really nice entry. And now, unfortunately, for those that missed it or who aren't in a position, it's just continued to rip up. It hasn't gone sideways other than at this point here, which we'll look at on H1 in a moment. But this now is the deepest retrace level for me. I don't really expect at the moment it's going to come all the way back down here, but you never know. You really never know. You can't say no to these things. But the trend is extremely bullish. So I would be surprised to see it come down here, 3,300, before it comes up to the all-time high, to be honest. But if it does, that is a dream level. That is an incredible level to take a trade from if it does indeed drop down here. So mark it out. If it does come back down there at some point, then look for reversal signs, because this is a really clean level. And then on the hourly time frame, we have this range here, and you can see how price interacts with it. So it pushes up, can't go any higher, drops back down into this cluster here, which is an origin level sitting on this previous high. So it's a really clean trend. So it ranges, instead of continue up at this point, retraces, finds support here at this key level, and bounces back into the range, higher lows, higher highs, and then continuation of just ripping. Let's just remove that though, because sitting on the top of that range is this level here. And I think this is a clean level, because this is where the buying took place to come and push up above that previous high. And it's where the buying took place to also break the range high. So this is a bit more of a realistic level, in my opinion, for a retrace. So if it comes down to here, about 3,650, that's a nice area to look at for a reversal. Considering how much strength we've seen in the market, it probably does look like it's due for a bit of a correction. I wouldn't say a huge amount, like it didn't correct massively down here, but we could probably see something to the same scale this week. Otherwise, it does look like it's just going to rip up to the all-time high, doesn't it? So yeah, that's kind of my level on Ethereum. I probably wouldn't, I mean, we'll look at M15, but I don't think it's got anything key at this juncture. I think this level down here, 3,650, is kind of an ideal level for where I'd look to go long, should it come back down here. And who's to say it doesn't? You know, it could well be doing a similar type of top to there, and then kind of jagged down and then continue up. So yeah, that's my area of interest on Ethereum, is about 3,650 on the hourly time frame. Okay, now we'll talk about Solana, which is looking also very bullish. And we talked about this for weeks again, and we've discussed the bottom being in here. So let's look into it. This was the key level on Solana. So what we had was this really big low, this area of support, similar to Ethereum, gets broken, and this is where the sell-off originated from, to come and test it. And then on a retest of it, it comes back down, it drops down, but not as far. And now on a second test of this level, it's pushing up. So this is looking very bullish, and we need to find a way to get in. So looking down on the daily time frame, we can see a little bit more price action. So what I was discussing just then, and what we've discussed on previous videos, is that here is the sell-off on the daily time frame that comes and breaks the support. And if you're short, if you're bearish, you want to see price come and hit it and then drop, but it doesn't. It continues all the way up to the origin, to the deepest retrace level, and then on the flip side, retraces back down to the deepest retrace level on the bullish side, which is here. If it breaks this level, the market structure changes, and then you're looking for shorts, but it doesn't. It bounces and then puts in a series of higher highs and higher lows. We've seen this story before on the other charts, and just keeps pushing up now. So if we just bring this a little bit cleaner, So how do we get in? On this time frame, this level down here is my favorite. It's sitting on the edge of that supply zone. I'm not really sure it's going to come down there. At this point, I think it's consolidated for too long and it's starting to push up really quickly. So on H4, we have a range that is formed here, but it's so bullish that it's basically put in the range, tested the highs of that range, and then just bounced off and then makes new highs. So really clean trend, but there's no real way in at this point, it seems. It's got to come back down here if I'm interested in a long, maybe take out these lows and then put a reversal in, but it looks like it may just keep ripping up. So let's jump down to the hourly, see what we can find. So if you are looking to get into Solana, I think there are other things that may stand a better chance. We have this high here, and then we have this range that has formed at this point. So I think the best you could probably expect is for price to come back down into this range here, just as I've discussed on H4. But this one looks a little bit more realistic. It's kind of a weird volume that's pushed up. Look, it's kind of kicked in out of nowhere. So I imagine, like, if it does come down, this is a clean area at about 182 to look for some reversals and then push up. But in terms of targets, I would say, considering the way this looks, you may well be looking that this will just keep trending up to the all-time high. I can't see why not. You know, the amount of consolidation that it's done pretty much all year, and now it's looking like breaking out. So yeah, why not? But a logical entry for me on Solana would be somewhere more like 179 to 180. Get some reversal signs and then look to push up. So that's my 3 coins for the day. So don't forget as well, guys, there's a live stream tonight at 6:30 p.m. UK time. And we're basically just going to cover all of the price action that's developed today. And then if you've got any other crypto coins you want me to look at, we'll cover them on stream. And if you can't make the stream, just leave a comment in the comment section below about what charts you want me to look at. And then the replay of that live stream will be available on the channel afterwards. And this video is sponsored by What Exchange. It's the platform that I've been showcasing on this video. And if you like the looks of it, and if you like the sounds of getting paid for the volume that you create for the exchange that you're trading on, then hit my ref link in the description below, get trading today, and I'll give you half of what I make on your referral. But other than that, your next video while you wait for the live stream is here. But if you're watching this after the live stream, then the replay is up there.